Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, pranams. So we'll just start with quickly with Mangalacharan. Mama Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we'll be concluding with our 6th chapter over here. We'll be concluding with a unit as well today, and I'll be making some important announcements regarding your CBAs, OBAs, and Shloka test. So the last week, what we saw was that how to advance in Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga has two levels. One is the beginning stage and one is the advanced stage. The beginning stage is called the Aruksha stage and the advanced stage is called the Arudha stage. And then we also saw that how mind is both the friend also and enemy also. And then in the 7th and the 9th shloka, we saw that what are the symptoms of the Yoga Rudha stage and how to practice Ashtanga Yoga, like the basic practices, the recommendations, and the what is the goal of Ashtanga Yoga. So, from the 10th shloka onwards, there were different stages of the Ashtanga Yoga. That how the perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga is, the various aspects and the realizations of that perfection. And then we also saw how to attain perfection in Ashtanga Yoga, that you realize the super soul and what are the methods of the Yoga Rudha stage, and that success formula, you bring the mind again and again back to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And then there are different platforms, the Brahma Bhuta platform, the Brahma Parsha platform, and where the Brahma Bhuta platform is that you realize the soul or the Atma, and the Brahma Samsparsha is that you realize the Paramatma sitting in your own heart and you're seeing Krishna everywhere. And then what are the actions of a perfect yogi? Now, after Krishna has said this, Arjuna's concern was that this Ashtanga Yoga seems very impractical because the mind is very unsteady. The mind is chanchal, it is flickering here and there. So then Krishna gives a solution. So let's see what Arjuna has to say in this shloka, because here is Arjuna's concern where he says that Ashtanga Yoga is impractical because my mind is very, chanchal. So he says, Arjun Uvacha. Yeah, Kalyani, that's okay. I absolutely agree with you. Yoyam yogastvaya prokta samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalavat sitam sthiram. So he's saying over here that, O Madhusudana, the system of this yoga, which you have summarized, appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So here Krishna is actually giving a concern. He's saying that Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Oh Krishna, this mind is very flickering. Chanchal hai ye man. And he's saying that let's read the purport and then we just come to the explanation. Somebody read the purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji Danvatana. Can I read?
Yeah, sure, you can read, Mataji.
The system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjun, beginning with the words Suchau Desha and ending with Yogi Parama, is here being rejected by Arjun out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self-realization, even by simple practical means. And what to speak of this difficult yoga system, which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjun thought it was impossible to follow the system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways. He belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior. He had great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjun had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept the system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing it at any time. Therefore, the system must be considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is impossible proposal. If this was so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present age? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so-called schools and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They're completely in ignorance of the desired goal.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So these two shlokas, or in fact, this section where from the 33rd to the 36th, it's saying that why it is necessary to control this mind. So he says that over here, yo ayam yogas tvaya prokta. Yoga means what you have told, Krishna, this yoga system or the system of yoga, tvaya prokta, what you have talked to me, already, right? And he's saying tvaya prokta. And tvaya prokta means what you've talked to me, and samyena. So it is samyena means where it is generally you're focusing somewhere on. And he's saying that Krishna, you have spoken about samadarshina, samayena. Samayena means samayena has again come over here. And again there is equanimity or equality of emotions or the perception. And then he's saying that etasya, he's saying etasya na pashyami. He's saying I do not see, because now it is interesting to see that Arjuna is using the word pashyami, because previously Krishna has used this word pashyami in the 30th shloka, if you see. And then, because when he says that yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. So now actually Arjuna is using the word pashyati, pashyami, and Krishna had used already this word. So yo yam pashyati sarvatra. So I see everything, but Arjuna has used the same word etasyaham na pashyami. So Krishna, you're saying that, I should have an equal vision everywhere. So I don't think it is possible for me. I can't see that, I cannot see everyone with that equal vision. And then he's saying that Chanchala chanchalatvat sthitam sthiram. So he's saying that this mind now is not very stable. It is not steady, and it is in a very restless situation. Sthitam means that situation is very restless, and it is very actually, if you see, the mind is constantly restless. So it's saying that uh, Arjuna is telling that you are saying that I should see all the living beings equally, but I don't think that I can see the people on the battlefield on an equal level. Like, for example, he cannot see Yudhishthir and Duryodhan equally. I can't see even, you know, uh, I cannot see even an animal or a human being on an equal level. Or in fact, he cannot even see Karna and Bhima on an equal level. So he cannot see even no, Shakuni and Vidura on an equal level. So, and then he's saying that, and people on my side, I cannot see them also equally. It is very difficult for me to see people. So, he's saying that no, it is very impractical for me what you are saying. And Arjuna is actually expressing his submission, and he's expressing his reservation also. So, submission in the sense that he's saying that, okay, I will do whatever you say. And reservation means he's saying that, no, I cannot do whatever you say. You may say, how, can both be there. But these two things, the submission and reservation. So, she's saying that when sometimes we agree with people that, okay, what I'm saying is, what you are saying is right, but I am not in that position to do it. I am reluctant to do that. And that is why Arjuna is saying that, see, Krishna, whatever you're saying, I'm not saying that you're saying is wrong. But if you're saying that somebody is saying wrong, then that can be a little offensive also. So Arjuna is not trying to be offensive, he's trying to be submissive, and he's expressing it that, see, whatever you're saying is okay, but it is not practical for me. So you please tell me what I should be doing. So if you see, uh, uh, even in the case of devotees, where they might they might get some instructions from the spiritual master. Okay, they might get some some 4-5 sets of instructions, or they might get some 2 sets of instructions. Like if you see in this case of Dhruv Maharaj, when Narad Muni gave him 2 sets of instructions, because sometimes the parents, they chastise, and that cannot be very taken seriously. So it is a very small thing that you couldn't, it was a very small thing that, yeah, you couldn't sit on your father's lap. Next day you can sit on your father's lap. Your father will allow you next day. So, so he's saying that, see, Narendra is saying that, see, children don't take these things seriously. And, children fight also among themselves, and then they again play together. So, what if you are not a child, and if you're a grown up, and um, and not even physically but also spiritually, for such people, honor and dishonor, are the same. So even if we are dishonored, we really don't bother about, such things that, okay, they did not honor me, and, I was dishonored or said. And sometimes really treat honor and dishonor equally. Have you ever realized it in your life that if somebody is not given you a seat, or somebody is not acknowledged your presence, so say, okay, fine, I'm serving for the pleasure of the Lord, how does that matter to me? I'm just an insignificant soul in this room or in the temple. So Narad Muni told Dhruv that you know, that if you don't take things seriously. And then Dhruv Maharaj was expressing his submission and reservation also, that he said that, see, actually I'm at a very intermediate stage, because I'm a Kshatriya and my blood is boiling, and I cannot tolerate that insult. And just accepting that, what you're telling me, it's not really possible. So I need a way to I need a way to show the father and others that I can get a kingdom which is even bigger than even Brahma. And this is what that this is what will pacify me, and a bigger throne than my father. And so if you see this thing that is there, so uh, Dhruv Maharaj had his reservation that, okay, I won't go, because Narad Muni was telling him, you go back. But Dhruv Maharaj, was submitting his concern, he was submitting his submission, and he's saying that, see, the only way, I can be pacified is that I want a kingdom bigger than my, grandfather also, and I won't go back. So sometimes, when we are given that instruction, we just follow the instruction. So, uh, and we try to follow the instruction of the spiritual master, or our mentors as such. So Arjuna over here, he is expressing a realistic reservation over here. So sometimes our aspirations might be very, very lofty. Like, for example, we want to be pure devotees of Krishna. We want to absorb ourselves, completely in smaranam of Krishna. We want to, go towards that direction. And uh, um, and how do we go towards the direction? And we see in spiritual life that, okay, there are different stars also, and there are different stairs also. So you have staircases, stars, like bolte na ki stars are what we are aspiring for, but staircases are steps we need to go over there, है ना. हमारे सपने बहुत बड़े हैं, लेकिन क्या हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं उन सपनों को साकार करने के लिए? Are we endeavoring for those aspirations? So if we look to the stars and never look to the stairs, then we don't move, thinking that, okay, it is so high, and I just keep on looking, I just keep on dreaming that one day I'll be in Golok Vrindavan and I'll be serving the Supreme Lord, but I'm not taking any endeavors to go that high. So then, mm, so if we look to the stars and never look to the stairs, then we don't move thinking that, okay, it is so high there, and you if you think that, okay, these stairs are so difficult, and we don't look at the stars, then we don't get that inspiration. So just what we can do is we can take a step at a time, and we can eventually go there. And that is why we need both the things. We need the stars also, and we need the stairs also. And Arjuna is expressing this submissive reservation, you can say, over here. So he's saying that, see, I cannot see this. It is not practical for me. It is not practical for me because my mind is so chanchal. My mind is so restless. And then, what Prabhupada has explained over here is that that it was difficult for Arjuna also at that point of time, and now people may argue. So that is why Prabhupada is saying that uh, Arjuna did not practice that Ashtanga yoga. There is no record as such where Arjuna had practiced the Ashtanga yoga. So now some people will say that, okay, Arjuna went for the forest and he did meditation, and he was in the Himalayas. He wanted to please Lord Shiva. He was sitting in that yogic asana and all, and he was doing meditation, and he was doing many other types of meditation, which involve those yogic meditations as such. And but we have to understand that what he was practicing was not Ashtanga Yoga. Sitting in yogic asana does not make somebody does not make somebody um, a yogic person, or practicing Ashtanga Yoga. See, if you see, a devotee can also sit in yoga asana, right? And do bhakti yoga. So when we are seeing Arjuna sitting in that yogic asana and meditating to please Arjuna to get that weapon, and he got that weapon from Lord Indra. So Arjuna's goal was not to get that samadhi or some Brahman realization. He is doing demigod worship at that time. And why is he doing that demigod worship? Because that is a part of bhakti yoga for him, because he wanted to serve Krishna, and whatever was required for that, he's already doing that. So if he's needing weapon, he takes it from Shiva and Indra. And that is why in the Mahabharata, what is shown is, like, a devotee is not deprived of that benediction from the demigods or the devatas. And he's saying that even our devotee is quite capable in worshipping the other devatas and getting that benediction. But ultimately, what is empowering, from the demigods, he can get benedictions. But the empowerment Arjuna got only by Krishna's mercy. So, what is empowering a devotee is actually Krishna's mercy. So, Arjuna is doing Ashtanga Yoga or that demigod worship. He's doing simply Bhakti Yoga because he's using the other aspects of that Vedic culture as a part of his devotional service. So Arjuna does not do yogic sadhana with, sadhya in mind. Like, when you say yam, niyam, can be practiced by people from even other paths, including even the devotees. And uh, also including even the bhaktas. So similarly, even sitting on a yoga asana can be done by others also. And any normal person can also do it, and that does not make Arjuna a yogi. So Arjuna has never done Ashtanga Yoga as sadhana to get liberated from that material existence. He might have done some tapasya to please Lord Vishnu that time, and he might have sat on some yogic asana, but uh, Arjuna never practiced Ashtanga Yoga. So this is what Prabhupada is trying to say over here, and this is what it means. Let's go to the next shloka. This is a very important shloka where Arjuna is expressing his concern. He says that Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramati balavad dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. So he says the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Somebody read the purport.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah. So Charita, please read.
For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence, although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. For a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately, no worldly man can do so, for this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. In the Vedic literature Katha Upanishad, it is said, Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi Shariram Ratham Evacha Buddhim Tu Sarathim Vidhi Mana Pradharaham Evacha Indriyani Hayan Ahur Visha Yamsa Teshu Gocharan Atmendriya Manoyuktam Bhokteti Ahur Manishinaha. The individual is the passenger in the car of the material body, and the intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and senses. So it is understood by great thinkers. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence, as an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga. But such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. And what can we say of modern man? The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance, in all humility. The method prescribed is Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vindayoho. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Sarita. Thank you so much. He's saying that Chanchalam means, the mind is restless. Then he's saying that what kind of restlessness? So if you see over here, he's giving 4 things over here. He's saying that Chanchalam. And then what kind of Chanchalam? The mind is uh, uh, so he's describing 4 kinds of serious describers. First one is actually Chanchalam, because the mind is restless. And then he's saying that he's saying that Pramati, the mind is even agitating. Then he's saying that the mind is Balavat. Balavat means he's very strong. And then he's saying the mind is very Dridam, very strong. Theet hai ye mind. So Chanchalam, is like a very restless child, where we say that, this child is so restless, it's a hyperactive child. So if the mother will say the child that you sit down, here, we'll do some homework. So the child will the child, sit down quietly. So he'll say that, okay, let me see, what this toy is, and I will, play with it, and let me go here and let me go there. And, if you see, this is the restlessness. And this restlessness only is leading to some mischief that he'll be doing. Like, uh, he might break something, or he might try something for fun. And then uh, uh, and then that thing, what the parents see, that, oh, what, the parents think that, oh, this is fun for my child, what he's doing right now. But restlessness can, advance, or it can lead to some danger. Like, if the child is sitting on a higher platform, or he's sitting on the bed, he falls off from the bed, and then, there might be a little danger, but the mind is restless. So the first thing, second thing, third thing, and the fourth thing, just like mind goes everywhere to, explore this uh, you know childlike curiosity that is there, and it can be dangerous. But um often the child is very innocent, or the mind is very innocent. So Arjuna uses the very first word is the mind is just like an innocent child. And um, you know, mm, so he's saying that in fact, in one place I had heard that Arjuna uses this word, that is the mind just like an innocent child. Is this childish naive curiosity alone? She says, no, it is not like that. That it is one feature of the mind. But what makes the mind dangerous is that it is not like a child in curiosity. It is also like a bull in strength, balavat, you know. So, chanchalam pramati balavad dradam. So then he's saying that the mind is even pramathi, it is agitating. Pramad means, mad. And unmat. So there is pramat and unmat. So many places it has been used. So when you say mathi, and means, somebody is intoxicated. And pramati means, it is maddened, So it is agitated to the point of being mad. Sometimes if you see somebody is desiring something, and till the time that a person does not get it, he becomes mad. So it is agitated to the point of being mad. And madness is also has a different level. There are some people who are having some problem in brain, because of which, they're sent to mental hospitals, and they're completely disconnected from that reality. They may say that, okay, I am the Prime Minister of India and President of India, and they may say that, okay, I can go to the I can go till NASA, and also some, these all types of statements, they indicating that madness. So uh, people get disconnected from that reality, and they're living in an illusionary world. And in that illusionary world, what thought will come to their mind and how they will act, nobody knows. So sometimes some mad people, are very dangerous, and that is why, they generally kept in a jail. And mad people can get any idea, and they can act in any way. So if you see a child is not mad. Child is just innocent. But here it is said that the mind is not just like a child. It is pramathi. It is mad. So we can see that sometimes even we go mad. Somebody, gets obsessed by, anger, and the person starts speaking, many crazy things which, he shouldn't be speaking. And so you can say anger is like temporary madness. Temporarily he is insane, and when it covers over us, we do not we do things, or speak things which we ourselves cannot conceive of doing such things at other times. Sometimes we, even if we reflect, hey, I was so mad at that person, I've never been that, and whatever I said, I would never do it, and even the wildest dreams, like, as such. So what makes us do it is just madness. So pramathi, mind is mad, so it is restless, but it is restless in a dangerous sense. So if you see, 2 to 3 persons are required even to control, yeah, an ordinary madman, when he goes out of control. And even when he comes in his madness, but imagine if the mad person is a big bull, and maybe boxing, that champion with huge muscles. But if that person goes mad, it is very difficult to control that person. So the mind is balavat, is very strong, extremely powerful. So if you see the Avanti Brahmana prayers in the even 11th canto, there is a reference which says that the mind is like God-like power. It is very, see, he uses, because when the mind takes control over us, it almost becomes omnipotent. And as God's command cannot be disobeyed, the mind's command, it is impossible to disobey the mind. So the mind's God-like power. So that mind's God-like power, we cannot disobey in any condition. So this mind is ferocious. It is also irresistible. And even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will speak that this mind is the strongest. Indriyana manaschasmi, among the senses, I am the mind. So the mind represents the supreme power of Krishna. And sometimes, we say that we say that Maya is equivalent to mind, but Maya takes us away from Krishna, and more than external, it is internal in the mind. So there is Maya Devi separately, and she is manifesting in different ways. She is quite different from Man also, or the mind also. And and sometimes for many practical reasons or purposes, mind is Maya. It acts even irrationally also. It is self-destructive also. You might have some suicidal tendencies also. So Balavad within material world. So Maya is omnipotent. Omni means present, just like God. And how is that? Because Maya knows our weaknesses. Krishna has given us that free will and has given that, arena to work with our free will. And this material world also, so we can say that we can choose either to serve Krishna or Maya. Like in a jail, we have that, we have the vigilance system. So that the jail knows that, okay, what these prisoners are doing at this time. And so even in the material world, what we are doing in this jail, Maya has that vigilance. And she may know everything. And she has been given that power by the Supreme Lord, by Krishna. And because she knows everything, she can be extremely dangerous for us. In the sense that Maya can act through our mind, and she can even trap us. So Maya's goal is not to trap us, but to promote us, but the way it is done through testing. So Balava, the powerful. So a powerful person can also act in a sensible way. But here it is saying that this mind is very dridam, obstinate. So, sometimes dridam means, determination. But over here, this word has come, means obstinate. So if you see determination, determination is something which is very good. It is very, good for us. A person receives failure in doing something, but if he still keeps on trying, doing the same positive things, so that is determination. But when you say obstinacy, means that when something is undesirable and a person should give that up, and when he's getting those lessons from those different places, he's getting those warnings, he's getting those indications as such, that he should give up, but he does not give up. तो हिंदी में उसको कहता है वो धीट हो गया है, वो नहीं सुनेगा, he will not listen. Like for example, in the case of Ravana, Ravana did not want to give up Sita. So many warnings and so many cautions he got from different people, from his wife and from so many other people. But he did not have uh, he did not listen to their instructions, and he did not have any protection also from any human beings, because he had already heard the uh, power of Lord Ram from various sources. So obstinacy is what it is. It keeps you on going on a wrong path in spite of getting so many, warnings and cautions and everything. And even Duryodhan, if you see, Duryodhan also did not pay attention to any advices from, different sources. So the mind, uh, when the mind gets attached to some idea that, okay, I want this enjoyment, then the mind just does not listen to anything else. It does not listen to good instructions. So the mind will say, no, I want this, whatever it may. I don't care. So the mind is hooked uh, to a particular idea. It is obstinate. So actually, if you see this combination of this, when you say that the mind is restless and the mind is mad, or the mind is very strong or powerful, or the mind is it makes the mind actually dangerous. So Arjuna is telling Krishna all these four are there, and that is why, because of these four, the mind is very difficult, or it is impossible to control the mind or to deal with this mind. And that is why the worst enemy that we have inside us is the mind. And that is why the mind is like a wind, a vayo. It is saying that the mind is like a wind which is blowing off. And if you see, Krishna has used this metaphor of this mind. And even in the previous place, he has used this, in the 6th chapter, if you see, because in the Hindi section, we are doing the 6th chapter. Sorry, in the Hindi section, we're doing the 12th chapter. So, Yatha Deepo Nivas, what is that sloka? Tatho. Because as the lamp uh, kept in a windless stage, it does not flicker. So similarly, if this mind uh, of that particular yogi is fixed on his own self, then he's compared the wind with the material desires. And he also said that the mind is free from material desires, it becomes absolutely peaceful. So Arjuna is telling what to talk about no wind. There is such a wind which is irresistible. So if you compare a windless place with, a cyclone or a hurricane or a tornado, the wind is so forceful that nothing can be done to stop that wind. So Arjuna said that I have weapons which can stop the big storms, but none of these weapons are effective on my mind. And this mind is impossible to control. So Arjuna is expressing, because if you see this whole process of Ashtanga Yoga, it is centered around controlling the mind. And uh, mm, the mind and whatever is equivalent, it has come many times in this chapter. So now Arjuna's question will be answered by Krishna, of course, that um, and if you see, Prabhupada also is mentioning over here that Atmanam Rathim Vidhi. So this individual passenger of the car, where Prabhupada has mentioned in the way the individual passenger of the car, of the material body and intelligence of the driver, the mind is driving instrument as such. So intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and itna dheet ho gaya, obstinate, that it often overcomes even his own intelligence. As in, जैसे infection हो जाता है ना किसी को, and it may even surpass that medicine that it is taking. An efficient medicine also might not cure the mind. So that is why saying that such a mind is supposed to be controlled by this practice of yoga. But such practice is never practical for, Arjuna is saying that this practice is not practical for a worldly person like me. I'm a Kshatriya, I'm a Grihastha also, right? So, so he's saying that, so if you see, the simile used here is, one cannot capture the blowing mind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. So that is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is he saying, that the easiest way to control the mind is chanting the Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance in all humanity. Man and tra, man ko tarne wala mantra, and the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Mahamantra. The king of all the mantras is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he's saying that all these only, when you are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then your mind will be completely engaged or fully focused on only Krishna. And then that is why your mind will never get agitated. So that's how you control the mind. The easiest way to control the mind is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now Krishna will give the solution. So Arjuna has presented his concern, but now Krishna will give solution to that problem. So Krishna says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Samshaya Mahabaho Mana Durnirgam Chanchalam Abhyasena Toi Konteya Vairagena Cha Gruhate. So he says that Asamshayam Mahabaho, this almighty arm, it is undoubtedly asamshaya, and he's saying Mano Dur Nirgrahanam Chanchalam. It is very difficult to curb this restless mind. So even Krishna is agreeing. Like when two friends are talking, हाँ तुम जो बोल रहे हो वो सही है. So Krishna is also saying that yes, it is very difficult to control the mind. I agree with you. And then he's saying, but he's giving a solution also. He's saying that Abhyasena tu konteya. By suitable and repeated practice, abhyas. Abhyas means what you're studying, okay? If you study on a daily basis, what happens is you are able to answer your paper properly, right? If you're daily reciting something, then you become, master in that. He's saying that Abhyasena tu konteya vairagyena cha grihayate. He's saying that by detachment, you can control the mind. And if you see in the first shloka of this chapter, where Krishna has said that sannyas and yoga. So what he's saying that when you take sannyas means what? Detachment from these worldly things. Then you can do yoga means attachment. Then only you can get attached. So over here also, Krishna is saying that Vairagyena cha grihayate. He's saying that by detachment, you can control the mind. So again, Krishna comes to the detachment part, detachment from the world. So he's saying that, let's read the translation and the purport both. Somebody read the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna, can I?
Prabhuji, your internet connection is not strong. Maybe you can just be in some area where the internet connection is strong.
Okay.
Yeah, now it seems stronger. Read, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Translation proposed by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Purport. The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practicing and detachment, it is it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and the foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. That is a very powerful transcendental method for. Uh, can you please, Hare Krishna? This is this is the powerful transcendental method for pure purging the mind of all misbehavings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spite.
Spirit.
Impersonal, yeah, in impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called. Can you please, Mataji? Hare Krishna. This attachment is called Paresh Pareshanbhav. The spiritual satisfaction, it is just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharging of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mind, madman, and eating the food stuff offered to Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji, can you please?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I think your internet connection
Offer to the Krishna.
is slow, no? That is why when I'm putting it up, you're not able to see it immediately.
Expert treatment for the madman and eating the food stuff offered to Krishna is appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for the
Hare
opportunity.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So see what he's saying over here that abhyasena tu kaunteya. So he's because see, if we keep on practicing and we try to keep the mind under control, and when it goes off, we bring it back again and again, and it goes off and we bring it back. So abhyas, we keep on doing practicing, and then we have abhyas clubbed with vairagya also. Vairagya means we try to follow the regulative principles and we try to avoid activities which agitate our mind. And so sometimes, we cannot be so, or now we can say that this, because of this mind only I cannot do this abhyas and vairagya, so I'm not able to do this and I'm told to do the same. How will this work? So uh, uh not that, that is why there is progression. Like, person has got fracture, so he's told to walk slowly. He can say so because of fracture only he can't walk now, or someone can tell him to walk, but no, whenever we can walk, or whenever he can walk, then he can walk, so, some baby steps or few steps, so that he does not get too much of pain. And gradually when he's taking a fewer steps, then he will get his strength and he will recover, and then the person can start walking again. So we may actually feel that the guru is telling us to chant Hare Krishna to control the mind. Prabhupada is telling, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, to chant Hare Krishna to control the mind. But because of that uncontrolled mind only, I am not able to chant. So how to do? No. So how to do? So no, we may, keep chanting. We may not have full control over the mind, but certainly we may have some control, and that level of control keeps on increasing so that we move forward. So we keep on practicing. Even if my mind is uncontrolled, I keep on doing abhyas. And then vairagya means the vairagya means detachment. I don't get involved in those things again and again. So if we see, there are some certain activities which are not desirable, and if we do those activities, then we'll get entangled. So we don't want to get involved in those activities, and that is why, that is vairagya. That is why if they're saying no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling as such. So abhyas and vairagya can move steadily in spiritual life without much difficulty. And if you see abhyas and vairagya, so this way, if one is moving forward, one will be able to control the mind. मैं अभ्यास भी कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मेरे पास वैराग्य भी है. And Krishna is saying this only thing. And Prabhupada is also saying that from this bhakti perspective, Prabhupada is saying that what is abhyas and what is vairagya. So Prabhupada is saying that when one practices spiritual life, and he's saying that bhakti pareshano bhava. He has mentioned over here bhakti pareshanu bhava, that is spiritual satisfaction. So this, if you see, even again, it is coming, this word comes in the 11th canto also, where when one, where Prabhupada is also saying that if one is eating and he feels that satisfaction and he gets that strength, right? And uh, and he gets that taste also, and his hunger is also disappearing. So when we are remembering Krishna, uh, all these things will happen. What will happen when we remember Krishna? We get the strength. Our hunger also goes away for material things. We are hankering for so many other objects in this world, and then we get Krishna, and then we are satisfied. No, I don't want anything. I don't want anything more. And so our hankering also goes away. And after that, we start getting that taste. That, yes, this is so nice. I'm feeling so strong. And Krishna is so nice. And, whatever temptation will come, I will face it. So Prabhupada is giving here, here more we engage in devotional service, the greater satisfaction we will get. So we have this disease that is there, and then it will keep on, what do you say, getting cured. The more we practice these two things, Abhyas also and Vairagya also. So this is what is being said in this particular shloka. So let's go to the next shloka. Now he's saying over here that uh, uh, Krishna is actually concluding over here what Arjun had asked. He's saying that असंयत्तात्मना योगो दुष्प्रापम इति मे मति व्यवसायत्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुम उपायतः. Somebody read the translation and purport both.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I
Yeah,
read?
sure. Yes, Prabhu, you can read.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta from Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Purport, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead declares that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned. Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. A Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor, but a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So see, what he's saying over here is asanyamta. Okay. He's saying that uncontrolled mind, unbridled mind means that uncontrolled mind. And when is the mind uncontrolled? When it is dushprapaha. Yogo dushprapa, self-realization, difficult to obtain. So he's saying that the perfection of yoga is impossible to attain when the mind is uncontrolled. And then he's saying that Vyashatmana tu yayata. Yatata. So he's saying that if somebody brings the mind under control, yatata, by endeavoring, by doing prayas, then what will happen? Shakyo vaptum upayataha. Then what will happen is that he will be able to attain success. And because see, if you will bring the mind under control, then only you will get success. Otherwise, in yoga, the mind control is a must. And if he wants to get success, so if the mind is not in control, this yogi's perfection is dushprapaha. It's difficult to obtain, and or you can say it is impossible to attain. So if one controls the mind by proper endeavor, by proper process, then it is possible to attain self-realization. So Krishna is making the point that basically he's encouraging Arjuna that yes, it is possible if you're endeavoring with the right process and also not compromising. So so both, it is right process also and not compromising also. So if you can't control the mind, then you will not attain that perfection. And if one does not control, he will not get, or his requirements will not be met, because if he wants to attain the supreme, then he will not be able to. So the yogi is uncompromising. At the same time, he's understanding and he's encouraging that there is this right process that is there. If you follow this process, you'll be able to control the mind, and you can bring the mind under control. Vyavasayatmana yayatada. So vyavasayat means you can control the mind and bring it under control, and again and again, when you will endeavor, then you will attain success. So Krishna is giving an encouragement over here that Krishna is giving an encouragement that over here that yes, it is possible for you to do Arjuna. If you just keep practicing, you will definitely achieve it. So, and what is that process? So then, Krishna will actually speak it a little later. He's not given that process as yet. But, and actually Krishna will give it later as Bhakti Yoga, but currently he's not speaking about Bhakti Yoga. So, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, they will contrast in the 8th chapter. And Krishna will tell that, see, what is this process? The easy way here is, Arjuna is telling it is difficult to do, and Krishna will say that it is easy to do. And what is easy to do? Then he will say that Bhakti Yoga is easy to do. And that is why here he is saying that yoga practice without controlling the mind from material enjoyment is actually a waste of time. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says over here, it's like trying to, ignite a fire while pouring water on it. And the yogis who control their minds, they give up those propensities for material enjoyment, and they perfect the yoga, and finally they attain liberation. So now, the next way you see in the 37th shloka that now when Arjuna has heard from Krishna that you should control the mind, and you should endeavor to control the mind, and you should practice yoga by having a controlled mind, then Arjuna becomes a little inquisitive to know that what happens to someone who fails to continue to endeavor in this yoga practice. अगर कोई प्रयास करना ही छोड़ दे, क्योंकि आप बोलते हो कि अभ्यास और वैराग्य करो, लेकिन आप अभ्यास ही नहीं करोगे तो फिर क्या होगा? If you don't do अभ्यास only, you don't practice only, then what will exactly happen? So then from this section onwards, he will speak about the destination of an unsuccessful yogi. What will happen to this yogi if he does not do abhyas, if he does not have that vairagya? So Arjuna is saying that Ayati Shraddhayopeto Yoga Chalita Manasa Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kamam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. He says that Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful translator who in the beginning takes the process of self-realization with faith, but who later resists due to worldly mindness and does not attain perfection in mysticism?" The path of self-realization or mysticism is described in the Bhagavad Gita. The basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that he is different from it. And that is happiness that his happiness is in eternal life, bliss in knowledge. These are transcendental beyond both body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge, by the practice of Eightfold System, or by Bhakti Yoga. In each of this process, one has to realize the constituent position of the living entity. So if you see in Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, there are Eightfold Systems: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and here also Niyam, Niyam, Asana and all are there. And then he's saying that you have to realize your constant position of the living entity, his relationship with God, and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following any of the above mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. So these three methods, if somebody is following, then he is sure to achieve the goal. And in the second chapter also, even a little endeavor, 2.40 shloka, if you see, even a little endeavor on the transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these three methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age because it is the most direct method for God realization. The other processes are indirect method of God realization, but this is the most direct way of it. To doubly assure, Arjuna is asking Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the part of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of eightfold system are generally very difficult for this stage. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about the process to pursue the transcendental path. It's more or less to declare the war on the illusionary energy, that is Maya. Consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of illusionary energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. What is happening? There is a tug of war. Here you're trying to escape from the illusionary energy, but she's again and again trying to bombard you with various allurement, various material distractions are there, various enjoyments, material enjoyments she's trying to. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material energy. There is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. So already he's being allured by Maya. Then again, when he's performing also his bhakti, again, he's being allured. This is called Yoga Chalita Manasa, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the results of deviation from this path of self-realization. So now Krishna, he's asking. So see, when you say three paths, then these three paths is self-realization is taught by Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. These are the three paths. Okay. So, and in each of these processes, one has to realize his constitutional position. Even if I'm in Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, I have to understand what is my sambandha, what is my relationship with God. And I should know even the activities whereby I can establish that lost link. So I should know what activities, my abhideya also I should know. And then what is my prayojan? My prayojan or the highest stage of attainment will be love of Godhead. So I should be knowing my prayojan also. So Prabhupada is saying that out of these three, Bhakti Yoga is the best part because it is the most direct method of God realization. And all other paths actually will culminate into Bhakti Yoga only. So any of these three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. But other paths are a little longer and Bhakti Yoga is a straight path. And so Krishna is saying in the, Bhagavad Gita that even little endeavor is somebody is doing, what will happen is that he will get that deliverance. Just give me 1 minute, okay? So, he's saying over here that Arjuna is asking to reconfirm, that thing over here that, and Krishna will now explain in the next shloka. He's saying that what will happen is that, in fact, he's explaining in the little later stages, but let's see what Arjuna is asking. Kaschinno bhya Kaschinno bhaya vibhrashta chinna bhram iva nashyati pratishto mahabaho vimudho brahmana pathi. So he says that Almighty Krishna does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a ribbon cloud with no position in any sphere. There are two ways to progress, Prabhupada is saying over here. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in promotion to higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so-called material happiness. Very important this line is. If the aspiring transcendent fails, then he apparently loses both the ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. उसको हिंदी में कहते हैं ना घर का ना घाट का. He is like a riven cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmana Pati is the path of transcendental realization through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Lord Shri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of the supreme absolute truth, and therefore one who is surrendered to the supreme person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma, realization takes many births. Therefore, the supermost path of the transcendental realization is Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct method. So he's saying that this is the direct method. You take up to Krishna consciousness. And further he says that Etan me sanchayam Krishna chetum arhasi asheshtata tad anya samshayasya chetana upapadyate. He says, this is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found, and who can destroy this doubt? So, Arjuna is confident and only Krishna can dispel my doubt or destroy my doubts. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all living entities exist individually in the past. They exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individuality in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So he has already cleared up the question of the future of the individual living entity. Now Arjuna wants to know the future of the unsuccessful translators. No one is equal to or above Krishna, and certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future. But no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what. And then in the next shloka, he is saying that there is no misfortune. So if you see the parallel between 2.40 shloka and the 6.40 shloka, there is some parallel view where Krishna will tell this that there is no loss or domination in that. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Parthaneva Namutra Vinascha Tasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschit Durgatim Tat Gachati. He says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pritha, a transcendental engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So he says, Srila Prabhupada says that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Narad Muni instructs Vyasdev, Tyaktva dharmam charanambujam harer bhajan apakko apatet tato yadi yatra ko va bhadram abhut amushya kim ko vartha apto bhajatam swadharmatmaha. If someone gives a material prosperity and takes complete shelter of Supreme Lord, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, a non-devotee may fully engage in his occupational duties and yet not gain anything. For material prospect, there are many activities, both spiritual and customary. A transcendental is supposed to give up material activities for the sake of spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness. One may argue that by Krishna consciousness, one may attain the highest perfection if it is completed. But if one does not attain such perfection stage, then he loses both materially and spiritually. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. The Bhagavatam assures the unsuccessful transcendental that there need be no worries, even though he may be subject to the reaction for not perfectly executing prescribed duties. He is still not a loser. Just give me 1 minute. Actually, I have an IDC course quickly after this, and there are a little calls coming. I'll just inform. The Bhagavatam assures the unsuccessful transit that there need be no worries. Even though he may be subject to the reaction for not perfectly executing prescribed duties, he is still not a loser. Because auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten, and one so engaged will continue to be so even if he is low born in the next life. On the other hand, one who simply follows strictly the prescribed duties need not necessarily attain auspicious results if he is lacking in Krishna consciousness. The purport may be understood as follows. Humanity may be divided into two sections, namely the regulated and the non-regulated. Those who are engaged simply in bestial sense gratification without knowledge of their next life or spiritual salvation belong to the non-regulated section, and those who follow the principles prescribed duties in the scriptures are classified among the regulated section. The non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated and non-educated, strong and weak, are full of animal propensities. Their activities are never auspicious because while enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, they perpetually remain in material existence, which is always miserable. On the other hand, those who are regulated by the scriptural injunctions and who thus rise gradually to Krishna consciousness certainly progress. Those who are following the path of auspicious can be again divided into three sections. The followers of scriptural regulations and regulations who are enjoying material prosperity, those who are trying to find ultimate liberation from material existence, and those who are devotees of Krishna consciousness. Those who are following the rules and regulations of scriptures for material happiness may be further divided into two classes: fruitive workers and no fruitive workers for sense gratification. Those who are after fruitive results for sense gratification may be elevated to a higher standard of life, even to the higher planet, but still, because they are not free from material existence, they are not following the truly auspicious path. The only auspicious activities are those which lead to one to liberation. Any activity which is not aimed at ultimate self-realization or liberation from the material bodily concept of life is not at all auspicious. Activity in Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity, and anyone who voluntarily accepts all bodily comforts for the sake of making progression, so progress on the path of Krishna consciousness can be called a perfect transcendence under severe austerity. Very important, this word. And because the Eightfold System is directed towards the ultimate realization of Krishna consciousness, such practice is also auspicious. And no one who is trying his best in this matter need fear degradation. So Krishna is giving a solace that you will not degrade. Okay. He will not meet any destruction, or he will not meet any misfortune also, and he will not attain any misfortune in attaining his spiritual goals, what to speak about the material goals also. And then he's saying in the next shloka, anybody who does a little short practice, who is little unsuccessful, what will happen to him? Prapya punya kritam lokan ustitva shashvata sama suchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brishto abhijayate. He says that the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living, that is Svargaloka, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brishta Abhijayate. So, so Srila Prabhupada says that The unsuccessful yogis are divided into again two classes. One is fallen after little progress and one is fallen after a long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short practice goes to the higher planets, where the pious living entities are allowed to enter, that is Swargaloka. After a prolonged life there, one is sent back to this planet to take birth in the family of righteous Brahmana, Vaishnava or aristocratic merchants. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse. But those who do not persevere to such an extent and who fall because of material elements are allowed by the grace of the Lord to make full utilization of their material propensities. And after that, they are given opportunity to live prosperous life in the righteous or aristocratic families. And those who are born in such families may take advantage of the facilities and try to elevate themselves to full Krishna consciousness. So there is no loss. So if some yogis, even though they have perfected their practice, by faith, develop a desire to enjoy and then accept such enjoyment. Like, if you see in the case of Saburi Muni, he was meditating underwater and he was meditating after a very, very long time. And, but still, he then, he saw the mating of two fishes and then he came out and he got married to some 50 princesses and all. But again, what happened is that he got married to those, I think it was 50,000 or 50 princesses. I forget. And then what happens to an unsuccessful yogi who falls after a long? So see, here he's saying that what happens to a person, to an unsuccessful yogi who falls after a short practice. And in the next shloka, he's saying that what happens to an unsuccessful yogi who falls after a longer practice. So let's see. Athva yogina meva kule bhavati dhimatam etat di durlabha taram loke janma yadrisham. So he says that if unsuccessful after a long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentals who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. Birth in a family of yogis or transcendentals, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives spiritual impetus, bachpan se, from the very beginning of his life. It is especially in the case of acharyas or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and the training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such acharya families, but they have now degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentals generations after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both are spiritual masters. Om Vishnu Pad, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families. By the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in devotion service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system, by the parampara system they met. So then you take the birth in the family of, transcendentalists and devotees, and then you perfect. Now, then in both the cases, what exactly happens? How do they resume in both the cases? अभी क्या हुआ कि unsuccessful थे, तो फिर अगर कुछ short time के लिए practice किया है, practice for a long time and he's unsuccessful, then where he takes birth. And then if he's practicing for a long time and then he becomes unsuccessful, then what happens? And then how do they resume back again? So he says over here is, Tatratam buddhi samyogam labhate purva dehikam yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddhau kuru nandana. He says that on taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. Now, the very famous example given by Srila Prabhupada over here is of King Bharat and how he revived his transcendental consciousness. And then he took 3 births. He took birth as the deer also, and he took birth as Jada Bharat also. And then by the grace of the Lord, the transcendental gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. Jab tak he will not become perfect, he keeps on getting opportunities. And then what happens? So then how does he attain perfection? So he says that Purvabhyasena tanev riyate hi asvasho api saha jigyasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. So he's saying that by virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, there are many examples. If you see, the best example of Gajendra also is there, okay, or King Bharat is also there. He automatically becomes attracted to yogi process even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. So Srila Prabhupada says over here, advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest perfection yoga, the highest yoga perfection. In the Bhagavatam, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists explained as below. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters, Chandal. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakur Haridas as one of the most important disciples. Although Haridas Thakur happened to take birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidity, attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily, Hare Krishna mantra. And because he chanted the holy names of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas known as the Shabda Brahma. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna. So here is a good news for all of you all. Because you all have practiced in the previous birth, and because there was some purification at some level, that is why you all have taken to the practice of Krishna consciousness or chanting the holy names of the Lord. So the Sukruti was so high, and that is why, you all have taken up to the process of Krishna consciousness. And then Krishna is saying that how Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. So he says over here that, give me 1 minute. Pratadnadya yatatmanastu yogi samsaddho kilbisha, yogi samsuddha kilbisha, anek janma samsiddhas tato yati param gatim. He says that, and when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all the contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So, when he is sincerely endeavoring, then he will attain the supreme goal. And Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, or Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada is giving a purport to that, Yesham tandagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante ma drida vratah. After many, many births of executing past activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from the illusory dualities. Illusory duality मतलब क्या, मैं सुखी हूँ, मैं दुखी हूँ, मुझे रोना आ रहा है और मुझे हंसना आ रहा है, मैं आज rich हूँ, मैं आज poor हूँ, like that. One becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. And then he next says that, how is Bhakti Yoga the topmost yoga? So he says that a yogi is greater than the tapasvi and the jnani and even the karmi also. So he says that tapasvi bhavo adhiko yogi jnaninoभ्यो api mato adhika karmi bhyachadiko yogi tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. So he says over here that a yogi is greater than an ascetic, greater than an empirist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, Krishna is suggesting be a yogi. So, you see, when we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the Supreme Absolute. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of particular method. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it is called Karma Yoga. When it is empirical, it is called Jnana Yoga. And when it is predominantly in devotional relationship, it is called Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness. And that is actually, the Lord is saying that the Lord has confirmed here in the superiority of yoga. But he is not mentioned it is better than Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is full spiritual knowledge. And therefore nothing can excel it. So the highest is what? Bhakti Yoga. Usse upar kuch nahi hai. Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is the Bhakti Yoga. And this is still more clearly explained in the next verse. And now the final verse where Krishna is saying that, this is a gem-like verse actually. Bhakti Yoga means the one who serves Krishna is the best of all the yogis. So he says that yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antar atmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatmano matah. So he says that yoginam api sarvesham, of all the yogis, one with great faith who abides in me. Okay, mad gatir antar atmana, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental service to me. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. He is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all, and that is my opinion. Same yuktatma matah, that is my opinion. So he says over here that very concise statement of bhakti is given away. That this is the direct process or the direct surrender to Bhagavan. He's saying that. And why he's saying that? Because the bhakta is like a golden mountain. And while the others are just like, high and low mountains. So over here he's saying that the word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its roots in the word bhaja. In the verb bhaja, which is used when there is a need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaja. So, Srila Prabhupada's purpose are really very, wonderful, where he will take, these Sanskrit words and elaborate. And if you will hear the lectures to these, to these texts or these shlokas, you will see Prabhupada is explaining in more details. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense, because when I am giving you a class over here, I am listening to Srila Prabhupada's lectures throughout the week. And then I am explaining in that way. So I find Prabhupada's explanation so wonderful that for me also to understand it's so easy. And to even, articulate them, it is so easy. So worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a wonderful statement over here. He's saying that love and faith. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Even every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. In the 11th canto says, Ya esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram na bhajati avajanati thanat bhrashta patanti adaha One who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primal Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. That is so wonderful. So in this verse also Bhajanti is used. Therefore, Bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord. Whereas the word worship can be applied to the demigods. तो हम जब बोलते हैं ना कि भक्ति है, अब भक्ति मतलब that bhakti, the word bhakti is reserved only for Krishna. Bhakti cannot be for demigods. Okay. Puja is for demigods. The word worship or puja, हम देवी देवताओं की पूजा करते हैं. लेकिन भक्ति जो है, this bhakti word is reserved only for Krishna. And can be applied to the demigods, to any other common. बोलते हैं ना हम प्राइम मिनिस्टर की पूजा करते हैं, है ना? तो we don't say हम प्राइम मिनिस्टर की भक्ति करते हैं, we say हम उनकी पूजा करते हैं, right? The word avajanati used in this verse for a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is also found in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajanati mam muda. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of God and Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. The main over here kya hai? Attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship or puja. The culmination of all the kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga and other yogas, but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All the yogas are progressions towards the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitful results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, it is called Gyan Yoga. And when Gyan Yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical processes and the mind is on him, it's called Ashtanga Yoga. And when one surpasses Ashtanga Yoga, one comes to the point of Supreme Personality of God, it is called Bhakti Yoga, the culmination. Factually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal, but to realize Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand the other yogas. The yogi who is progressive is therefore the on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name: Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, Dhyana Yogi, Raj Yogi, Hatha Yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all the other yogas. Therefore, because why? In Bhakti Yoga only all the other processes are included. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of Bhakti Yoga, of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, the Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. And it is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna conscious on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is Sham Sundar, who is beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garland. Illuminating all sides is his gorgeous luster, which is called the Brahmajyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Ram, Narsimha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. That is why he is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and he is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is the highest yogi. This stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga. Yasya Deva Para Bhaktir Yatha Deve Tatha Guru Tasyate Kathe Arthaha Prakashante Mahatmana. So, only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhakti Rasya Bhajan and all that. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next, devoid of such inclinations. One should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. This is the purpose of Naishkarmya. These are some of the means of performance of Bhakti or Krishna conscious, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Thus, ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Dhyana Yoga. So we have successfully completed over here, and where I really wanted to focus was actually how to control the mind, the necessity of controlling the mind. And if the mind is controlled, then everything becomes automatically controlled and things fall in its own place. So I rest my speech over here. If somebody has any doubts, questions, queries, you can ask, or else then I'll move towards the CBA dates and the OBA dates and the Shloka dates.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, just one or two doubts I have. Mataji, chapter 1 to 6 is Nishkama Karma Yoga or just Karma Yoga we say?
It's just Karma Yoga.
Not Nishka. And what is the meaning of culmination of Karma Yoga, like Prabhupada uses all these words?
See, when you
And
say,
is it
yeah, when he says, the culmination of yoga, so all these yogas will automatically, bring you to Bhakti Yoga. कर्म योगा है, निष्काम कर्म योगा है, अष्टांग योगा है, ध्यान योग, हठ योग, राज योग. All these will eventually bring you to Bhakti Yoga. So now we have a choice that whether I want to go by staircase or do I want to go by the elevator way, lift way. So we have taken the direct process, that is the Bhakti Yoga, which is easier also. And those others who have taken those processes, they will also eventually come to Bhakti Yoga. But they will take a little more longer time to come to Bhakti Yoga. For us, we are very fortunate by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas that we straight with the distribution of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and other Vedic scriptures, we came immediately to, Bhakti Yoga. Okay.
like, for example, somebody is a businessman. Like he comes to the temple, then maybe he's donating something, he's doing some, then from karma, then goes to karma yoga. Then slowly he comes, then he chants, by association, he chants 1-2 runs, attends Bhagavad Gita classes, then he's coming doing Ekadashi, then slowly he's going to the ladder of Bhakti Yoga. That is called culmination, like,
Perfect. Yes,
little
yes,
bit.
yes. Yes, you have a very perfect understanding. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Any other queries, doubts, questions? Okay. So just for a few minutes, please switch on your videos. And I myself would like that you all decide the date for CBA. What is the, because, Krishna also gives Arjuna a choice. So of course, I'm not at the Krishna's position, but the teacher gives the student a choice. So here even I am planning to give you a choice that what is the suitable date for y'all and where y'all would like to give. I'll just share with y'all the calendar so it becomes a little easy for y'all. Oh, give me 1 minute. And it is, yeah, Jan. So of course, this December month, we won't really have examinations. It's a book distribution month. Now, what you all feel that what would be the best date for you all from this side that you all would like to give the examinations on? It would be a weekend only and it would be a Saturday only, okay? So is 6th good for you all or is 13th good for you all? What do you all feel?
Mataji, for me, 20th January. Sorry.
माधुजी 27 January.
अय, जास्त झालं 2 महिने झाले 2 months who will give and then what will happen
Madhaji
20th.
because
yeah tell me.
Madhaji because I'm giving some competitive exams, so I have got those exams scheduled in the entire Jan. So my exams will get over by 25th of Jan, so that is why I was thinking 27, because now my prelims are also starting in December.
Okay. Anybody has a problem with the date 13th Jan? Because you have completely 1.5 month completely.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please check my message to you.
Okay. Just give me 1 minute. अच्छा 13th को मुश्किल होगा. Okay. How about 20th Jan? Is everybody good with 20th of Jan?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, ma'am.
20th Jan, Jyoti Rupa, 20th Jan is okay. Atima, 20th Jan is okay. You all can
Yes,
just
Mataji.
unmute and say yes or no, okay, when I call out your
Yes,
names. Jyoti Rupa, 20th Jan is okay. Sushil
Yes,
Prabhu,
Mataji.
20th Jan is okay.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah, okay. Juhi Mataji, okay, 20th Jan is okay for her. She's already said. Kalyani Mataji, 20th Jan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Krishna Kripa, 20th Jan is okay for you.
Okay, Mataji.
Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu, 20th Jan is okay for you. Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu. Okay. Mohana Mataji, 20th Jan is okay for you.
Okay, Mataji.
Nivedita Mataji, 20th Jan is okay for you.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah. Roop Manohar Prabhu, 20th Jan okay for you.
Yes, Mataji.
Rajamallu Prabhu, 20th Jan okay for you.
Mataji, I may be traveling to Yatra. I'm not sure. Still, it is not confirmed.
Okay, you can
So
just plan
next
it
time-
out, Prabhuji. Yeah, you can just, shift the date either, after 20th Jan. Okay. Sahiba, 20th Jan.
Yes, Mataji.
And who else is there? Vrinda, 20th Jan is okay for you.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. So Pathasati Prabhu, 20th Jan okay for you.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so we'll decide 20th Jan as the CBA date. Okay.
Okay, for me
20th
also,
Jan
Mataji.
CBA date. Now, OBA date will be 27th of Jan. Okay, 1 week after that. But still, you have almost 2 months to go. So you can prepare your OBAs, by then. You will want to submit even before that. But no, I feel you'll submit on the 27th only, so that, that whole thing becomes consolidated for me and I can give a zip file straight to the BVRV as such. So, and a shloka test also will be on 27th only then. Okay. So let's keep shloka test. OBA submission तो क्या आपको सिर्फ submit करना है उस दिन, right? So CBA 20th Jan and OBA 27th. Is that okay with everybody? Shloka start learning now only, OBA start doing now only, and writing question answers abhi se. In fact, you all had almost 6 months. जैसे जैसे chapters चलता था, आपने उसी time पे question answers लिखते गए थे, तो वो भी चीजें बड़ी आसान हो जाती हैं. You would be really free, by now, at least, है ना? Because writing question and answers, everything is from the purports only and from the translation only. Nothing is outside the Bhagavad Gita. Everything is in the Bhagavad Gita itself only. All the answers are in the Bhagavad Gita itself only. Right?
Mataji, I have one question. Sorry. Yes, Mataji, you continue.
Nivedita, yeah, if you want to give shloka test a little earlier, you can give. It's little flexible, okay? You can give it, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. So anything else you all want to discuss or, give your opinions on that? You all are free to.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have one question. Is like the question paper that you had given in that handbook. After that, there are like other questions, like from understanding we have to, something like that. So, how do we prepare all those questions? No, right?
Only from those 63 questions that are there, no?
Yeah.
Then only those question answers will come.
Okay.
So the portion will be chapters 1 to 6. And I think there are 63 questions or there are 70 questions in the handbook.
You are
60
right, Mataji.
questions? Who has completed writing all those question answers?
It's a 63
Yeah.
questions.
There are 63 questions and everything will be asked from this only. And if you see, you have the analogy sections also. Analogies also will be from chapter 1 to 6.
I have completed writing all the answers.
Yeah. Check the analogy section also and check my, current, chat also. Yes, 12 shlokas with translation is a must. Is a compulsory. Y'all are going to be future preachers. So it's a must.
Mataji,
Any
you have
any
done-
12 sloka, Mataji? 1 to 6.
No.
Okay.
Shlokas are given in your handbook that these only shlokas will be coming.
Okay. Yeah.
You have static shlokas that have been given to you already in the handbook. That these only shlokas will be, and you'll be going line wise same way, I will give you those shlokas, in some PDF format, which becomes easy for you to memorize them. So, shloka with translation and shloka with translation, okay? No purports, only translations. Purport dene jayenge, though I think nobody will do only Bhakti Shastri next, from 7th onwards.
Mataji, ask all the 12 shlokas in sequence.
Yes, all the 12 shlokas sequence, Prabhu. There is a concession for senior citizens, don't worry. In my batch. Those
Very
who are above age 60, I give them a little concession. 58, 59, 60, towards that only side, a little concession, but no concession for those who are below 55. Okay, any more questions?
Mataji, please post the attendance also. It will be easy.
Yeah, I will be actually giving out the attendance sheet also, that how many people have not, gone towards the 75% and they have to actually give me a explanation for that and hear the recordings and come back to me. Okay, anything else, dear devotees? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
So all the best for your examinations and book distribution both.
Thank you Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Mataji, we